Happy Sunday to you. I'm King 5 meteorologist Ashley Ruiz with a look at your forecast. It's Labor Day weekend and we have a lot to talk about. A lot of changes for us up ahead this week, whether it's an abbreviated work week for you, you're here visiting, anything like that. Really going to be a pleasant week. But to wrap up our holiday weekend, today, tomorrow, we're going to kick things off with clouds followed by gradual clearing. 70s to around 80 degrees. Now, the 80 would be closer to Puget Sound and the Cascade foothills, our typical hotter spots. But depending on how quickly these clouds clear, that will determine just how warm we'll get. Saturday, clouds were very slow to clear, and Seattle only hit a high of 70. That was at SeaTac, so at the Weather Service office, so more to the north, not so much, not as cool. Also, you'll notice to the sky, once we start to see some sunshine, it's going to be pretty hazy still. We have some light smoke in place, some haze, and with us heating up later in the week, that's going to increase our wildfire risk. But that's to come by the middle half of the week when our heat will peak over the area Wednesday and into Thursday. So the big picture right now and why things are pretty unsettled, we have this upper low just hanging out offshore, and that's going to keep our temperatures in the 70s for most spots and slight rain chances. And what I mean by rain chances is very, very minimal. We've had a couple of showers out there this morning. That's where or when we'll have the greatest chance to have any rain chances, except for up in the mountains. There could be a couple of thunderstorms, which I'll get to in just a minute. But this upper level low, and depending on how quickly this ridge builds, which likely will come late Monday and into Tuesday, that upper low is going to move to the west, and then ridging's going to build over our area, and that's going to be the main influence for our weather pattern, at least mid to late week. So by the end of the week, however, model guidance, it's still a bit unclear just what we're looking at heading into next weekend, but models are favoring cooler than normal and potentially some rain chances, but that may come next week. So not this week, but next. That's a lot of time between now and then, so we'll get to that later, but just something we're watching. But we are going to warm things up by the middle half of the week, and you may have noticed your forecast on your phone, just our forecast in general. Temperatures have been going up, down, depending on as we get closer to the middle half of the week, because we have to see how strong this ridge will be. And so temperatures are starting to trend a little more on the cooler side instead of the warmer side. But for now, I'm going with a happy medium in the mid 80s for Puget Sound. Some spots could be hotter than that, but we'll continue to fine tune the forecast as we get closer. But for Labor Day, it's going to be pretty similar, kicking things off with clouds, followed by afternoon clearing with temperatures close to normal. And here's a look at the satellite and radar, the low offshore, and it's sending us some moisture. At least some moisture is getting pulled in from the south, and that's why, again, we have more clouds in place, and we've had a couple of showers, but the bulk of the moisture is well offshore. Into the afternoon, especially if we get some instability building, could have a couple of thunderstorms. In fact, this was just released a few minutes ago from the Storm Prediction Center. Initially, it was showing the thunderstorms are possible more so over the northern Cascades and east of the Cascades, but they've expanded it to include the North Sound and closer to the north interior and much of eastern Washington, central and eastern Washington. So that just goes to show that there's the chance that we could get a couple of thunderstorms even this far to the west. Very low chance, but the chance is there nonetheless. So if you are going to be outside at any point, just make sure you have a place to go in case you hear thunder. Here's a look at the futurecast, which is not picking up on much moisture, and it didn't pick up on the precipitation this morning as well, but I do expect at least maybe a thunderstorm to develop over the mountains. That's where we'll have the greatest chance. That would be later in the day or even tonight, which Futurecast is picking up on that potential overnight. So Labor Day morning, you see how we have those low clouds, maybe some drizzle out there, but those are expected to clear out as well. Seattle, we've actually had some sunshine to kick off the day, though we have a good bit of cloud cover out there. Some of you not as lucky, but we are still anticipating the clearing into the afternoon, allowing temperatures to bump up into the mid and upper 70s. Now, if clouds do not clear, which this happens sometimes when we have upper level lows, the forecast sometimes is a bust because the clouds are stubborn, they do not clear. So that potential is there, but either way, it's not going to be a bad day by any means. Still anticipating some sunshine, but low and mid 70s to our north, maybe a couple of 60s in the islands, mid and upper 70s for much of Puget Sound. Some spots may come up to about 79, maybe 80 degrees, especially if we get that clearing. With that all being said, I mentioned the haze, the light smoke. Air quality could drop into that moderate range for today and potentially up into the mountains as well. And so if you are hiking, that's also something to keep in mind. But remember, I mentioned the threat for a thunderstorm. Just be on the lookout there. Huge game in town tonight. We have Miami in town, Inter Miami, and then the Sounders for the Leagues Cup this afternoon. And it looks like a nice one, especially again, if we get rid of these clouds, likely still going to have filtered sunshine with temperatures in the 70s. And of course, go Sounders. Here's a look at some of the events going around town for today and just in Western Washington. The Oak Harbor Music Fest, slight chance for a couple of showers. Temperatures will be cooler, and then we have our state fairs going to be pretty quiet for that, weather-wise, of course. Overnight temperatures only in the 50s, so still pretty mild, increasing clouds, and then again gradual clearing into our day for Labor Day. In fact, some spots could even be a couple of degrees cooler. However, you see upper 60s to lower and mid 70s, Puget Sound mid and upper 70s. I do think Labor Day could end up being a little cooler than today. Again, something we'll have to watch out for. But either way, you can still go out and enjoy the day. Still going to be pleasant. Now, if you're going to the eastern side of the state, there is a heat advisory in place, and then there's the threat for some temperatures in the mid and upper 90s to about 100 degrees. I also wanted to point this out. This is a look at the Aurora forecast for tonight and tomorrow night. And the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center released this earlier this morning. They update it several times a day. So if you want to check it out, go to their website to see what the latest is. Tonight, no, they're not calling for the chance for Aurora to be visible, not this far south, but that could change into tomorrow night. They actually issued a G2, G3 geomagnetic storm watch, and even so tomorrow night, Monday night, Tuesday night could even be a greater chance to see them. But again, as we well know, this changes a lot. And we've been treated to lots of Northern Lights shows here over the last year and a half. So we'll have to just be patient and check out the forecast as it gets closer. But definitely something to look forward to tomorrow night, especially if we get that clearing, which we are anticipating. So if we had it tonight, we would be covered in clouds anyway. So we'll keep you posted on that. Check out king5.com. I'm currently writing a story about it anyway, and that's something we'll also be covering for you and keeping you posted. But tomorrow, Labor Day, again, we'll have morning clouds, afternoon sun. Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday, we warm things up. We'll have sunny skies, temperatures in the mid 80s, but once again, we'll have to watch out for the potential for some wildfire danger. As we well know, anything, a brush fire, even in the lowlands, that could spread rapidly, so it's fire weather season, but there's that enhanced and increased risk by the middle half of the week. Then we get into next weekend. It looks like temperatures will be closer to normal, and then the high temperature forecast beyond the 7-day forecast, so September 8th all the way through September 11th, temperatures are trending cooler, but this could definitely change again, being over a week away. But if you want some cooler weather, it's looking increasingly likely that we will have that. It's not going to be extremely cool, but definitely not the 90s. So summer weather lovers, apologies, but the 70s look as though they may make a comeback. Remember, you can always find the latest forecast and extended forecast on King 5 Plus, the King 5 app, as well as king5.com, and of course on air as well. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day and a happy and safe Labor Day.